Alright, I don't know what happened to my phone or what went wrong. I made a video and it didn't show up on my channel. But anyway, um, what I was showing when the telephone abruptly quit operating was these guys' website. Come on, telephone, focus. There you go, right there. Ask for Bill. Um, it's called Master Tech Marine. Then they're in Florida. These are the guys I got this kit from. Um, Everything so far has been in the kit, just like I say. You even got brand new rod bolts. I mean, brand new everything. Main bearings, rod bearings. You got wrist pin bearings. But they're made a little different than the old cage style. They're a little bit more aggravating to put in. But some of the videos have shown where you take the wrist pin, you lay them out in a row. I didn't show them in the video because they're aggravating. You lay them out. They come in little individual packs. Just like this right here. And when they say needle bearings, they mean needle bearings. These are conversion kits. Anyway, this right here is a rod bearing. But you lay them out, and you take a little bit of this transmission goo. It's the real thin stuff, assembly goo. And what I do is put it around the wrist pin. When you lay those things out and then stick it in there and just roll them up as many as you can. Have a little container like this because you're not going to be able to get them all on there. Once you get as many as you can on there, put the little keeper on one side. It comes in the pack. It's just a little round keeper. You stick it on one side. Stick your one on the other side. It comes with two. And stick your wrist pin right in the middle of that. It works great. And then add your rest of them till you can't add anymore and you're good. Or till all that's in the pack. Now, with one of my bags had broke open, so inside that box I found 2 needle bearings. Always look in your boxes before you call them and say they're not in there, because I was fixing to do it. But anyway, I got all the pistons in, got them all orientated right. Pay close attention to how you take these things apart, because mark your piston, then mark your rod once you get it out, which side's facing toward the front or toward the top of the motor where your flywheel goes. Now, what you will find, if I can get this motor stand to turn, what you will find is on the front side of every one of these wrist pins, there's an oil hole. Let me see if I got a light here. And what you'll find is there's a hole in that wrist pin. Right down there on the front side. It's just a little right there. Every one of them goes toward the front. Now what I done was, as I took it apart, I took a little old file. You can even use I don't care, a little saw blade. I don't know if you can see that little mark I put right there or not. I marked it right across there, both sides. Then mark your rods the way they go with some scribes on them, so you can put them back just like they go. The hardest part is those little needle bearings that go inside there. Now, to get your old pistons off of your rods, what I had to do was take this little punch, about the size of the wrist pin, a little smaller, and stick it in the vise. It's a lot easier. in the press. It's a lot easier with a small press. If you don't have one, you can put it in a vise. Ooh, that thing makes noise. You can put it in a vise and beat the crap out of it. Just make sure that you're not hurting the rod because you're trying to reuse the rod. But anyway, this is part 2 of that. I'm fixing to put the rod bearings in it and put the crank in it. One last thing I did, and get it to be a rotating assembly. One last thing I did want to show you is pay attention to these little tangs. 1, 2, 3. Because every one of these bearings, here it is right here. Every one of these bearings have got a little hole on this crank. I've already assembled this. It's relatively simple to do this. Make sure you use plenty of grease and oil, assembly lube, whatever. But every one of these tangs have got to go in the block. If they don't, and you go to put the cover on it, you're going to break the cover or you're going to tear the crank up. Then make sure the last thing is when you put this bearing on, make sure you put that lock in there. There's a little lock right there that goes on there. You have to take it off in order to get the bearing, put the new bearing, take the old bearing off, put the new bearing on. Now, what I used to take the old bearing off was a bearing splitter. One of these big things right here, you can get them at Harbor Freight, Snap-on Tools, any other tool dealerships. Now, that's a little bit bigger one than you really need, but that's what I used to get it off. Relatively simple with a small press. You can get that thing off other means, but be careful of the crankshaft. That's your biggest thing, is you don't want to tear parts up that you're going to reuse. But make sure you have it all polished and all that stuff. Also, get you a book. Find you a service book. It's got everything in it you need to know. The best thing on these little 70 horses that people have told me is cut the head down about 20 or 25 thousandths. Give it a little more compression. So that's what the guy down at the machine shop, he got that done for me. You're looking at roughly $240 for all the machine work. We went 20 millimeter over. I'm sorry, 20 thousandths over 50 millimeter on this thing because the old pistons had done got in there slapping around, beating around on it. So that's what we had to do. I'll make a part 3 once we get the rotating assembly done. We're going to probably try to find a little pontoon boat to stick this motor on, and because I had it on my other little boat, but that's a different story for a different day. Thanks for watching.